Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Another man dies from Barbican Burger King car park fight. Another of the men involved in the confrontation at the Burger King car park on Barbican Road in St. Andrew Thursday morning has died. Kahim Harris, 28, from Confidence View, Kingston 6, succumbed to his injuries last night. His friend Akeem Morgan, a 28-year-old carpenter from the same community, was pronounced dead when they were taken to hospital on Thursday. The condition of the third injured man is said to be serious. A video of the incident has gone viral on social media. Police reported that around 6:50 a.m., Morgan Harris and another man were occupants of a black Toyota Nova using the Burger King drive-thru when an argument developed between them and men in a grey Nissan Tiida. The men in the Tiida were joined by men in a white BMW, and the argument turned into a physical confrontation. Knives and machetes were brought into play, and during the fights, Morgan Harris and the other men were injured. The injured men were rushed to the University Hospital of the West Indies, where Morgan was pronounced dead, and Harris and the other man admitted. Harris later succumbed to his injuries. Auto body repairman condoned at home. 38-year-old Joel Box, an auto body repairman of Greenville Road, Mandeville, Manchester, was shot and killed by unknown assailants at his home on Friday. Reports from the Mandeville police are that about 4:15 p.m., Box was working in his yard when a lone gunman alighted from a motor vehicle and fired several shots at him. He was subsequently taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigations continue. 2 injured in anchovy gun attack. 2 men were shot and injured by a gunman in Moy Hall, St. James on Thursday. The injured men, ages 33 and 36 years, have since been admitted in hospital in serious but stable condition. Police have not yet established a motive for the attack. Reports reaching reporters are that about 10 a.m., the men were standing at a section of the roadway when a man pulled a firearm and opened gunfire at them. Police said one of the injured men was shot in the mouth and the other in the right eye. The gunman then fled and escaped. Both men were assisted to hospital, where they were being treated, the police stated. File on woman killed in Spalding to be sent to DPP, says cop. A file is being prepared to be sent to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in connection with last Friday's killing of a woman in Spalding, Manchester. Jardine Grant, 26, from Overwoods District in Cobler, Manchester, was stabbed to death during a fight with another woman in the rural community. Grant had reportedly followed a friend to confront the woman, who was said to be in a relationship with the friend's lover. Police told reporters that the file would be sent to the DPP so the office would provide guidance on the step for the authorities to take. The police did not give a timeline for when the file will be sent. It was reported that about 2:15 p.m., Grant and her friend confronted the accused woman, who is said to be a security guard, on Main Street in Spalding. Police reports indicated that Grant was armed with a knife and the friend with a piece of board. The police said during an ensuing fight, the board was used to hit the woman. A struggle then developed between the accused woman and Grant, who was relieved of her weapon and stabbed. Grant was rushed to the Percy Junior Hospital, where she died while undergoing treatment. The accused woman was later taken into police custody. JFJ remains firm in its stance that SOEs are unconstitutional and unlawful. Jamaicans for Justice JFJ is remaining firm in their stance that the states of emergency and how they are being utilized are unconstitutional and unlawful. This follows the imposition of the measure in St. Anne, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrew, Hanover, St. James and Westmoreland on Wednesday. Speaking with reporters, JFJ Executive Director Michael Jackson noted pending legal matters surrounding the use of SOEs. Ms. Jackson said there is no real evidence to support the rhetoric that SOEs save lives.
We remain concerned that the SOEs are being utilized as a routine crime-fighting measure, despite the constitutionality of its use being in question. There is a pending legal matter, the Everton Douglas case, where the court had in fact ruled that the circumstances within which those 5 men were detained were unconstitutional. And there were aspects of the ruling that had actually made a judgment on the constitutionality of how the SOEs were declared and are in fact being utilized. That current appeal matter is going to be heard in the courts towards the end of January 2023. And with that in mind, we had hoped that the government would take pause and wait on that judgment or the court ruling to first be declared prior to its continued use of the SOE. Quite frankly, that week by week data being presented by the police commission and the government ought to be questioned by people. Now, when you look at the murder rate nationally, you have actually seen an increase in the data, not a decrease as one would want you to believe. I make reference to 2018. That year was the first time we saw the SOE being declared by the government in January of 2018. The murder rate at the end of 2018 was 1,287, and we have seen a consistent increase in the murder rate every year since 2018. Now, when you look at the data comparatively right now compared to last year, 2021, you are also seeing an increase in the numbers. And 2022 is set to close out to close to 1,500 persons being killed.
Ms. Jackson also stated that there is concern about repeat detentions of persons under successive states of emergency without charge.
The last SOE that was declared, JFJ received some 10 complaints of arbitrary arrest and detention. We managed to secure the release of 2 or 3 clients under the last SOE, but the nature of the complaints are instructive. What it suggests is that people are repeat detainees. So in other words, you may have 3-4 SOEs declared and the same persons are repeatedly being arrested by the security forces and no charges are being brought against them. The other part of it is that one of the clients that we secured his release, he was granted bail for a charge that was proffered against him, and shortly after being granted bail, he was scraped up under the SOE. So what you have is that the SOEs are being utilized certainly to circumvent the criminal justice system, and that is problematic. One of the questions that JFJ keeps asking, how many persons have you detained under the SOE that you have managed to secure a charge against? And given that the SOEs are 5-year into implementation, how many of those charges have then led to a conviction? How many of those cases have led to the dismantling of any gang operation? Those are the critical questions that the police commissioner must answer. The SOEs yet again are merely detaining people for a short term without anything converting into any sustainable inroads into the crime-fighting measure. And that is problematic for us because you're talking about millions of dollars being expended under the SOE that really is not sending a signal that it is working in the medium to long term.
NSWMA wants increased fines for illegal dumping. The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, wants fines for illegal dumping to be increased. The enforcement unit of the authority recently received 10 new motorcycles to improve its mobility and tackle the plan of illicit dumping across the country. NSWMA Chairman Desmond Chong says while the team has been carrying out their mission, the fines is for people found in breach of the law are not a strong enough deterrent. The problem we have is that even after you identify, if you were to issue tickets to someone, the average cost of the ticket is $3,000, he pointed out. With fines as low as this, he noted that it costs people more to dispose of their garbage legally than to do so illegally. Mr. Chung lamented that it has been more than 10 years since efforts began for an updated legislation to be put in place. But he is hoping the local government minister's promise that the amendment legislation should be on board by the middle of next year will be realized. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click